everybody, today I am scrapbooking this photo of my cat, or more correctly my cats, but really I'm scrapbooking that photo of my female cat because she does not snuggle like she is here. And she came up on me one sort of cold night, which is I think why she was snuggling, and draped herself on me, and in order to do it she was kind of sitting on her brother as well, which I just thought was humorous. He was not very happy about that whole thing, but he just sat there for quite a while. I think eventually he moved because he decided he didn't like her sitting on him either. Sometimes they fight over me. I think I've done a layout I think called that, or I'm going to do a layout that called Sometimes They Fight Over Me, because sometimes they do fight over me. All the papers and the cut apart paper that I'm using today are from the Maggie Holmes Open Book 12 by 12 paper pad. I got that at Tuesday morning a few months ago. So I don't have any of the paper names because it's all from that paper pad. I love that black and white gingham paper, so I actually gutted it so that I can use it again. It just seemed, in my case with this one, it just seemed would be a waste of that paper if I didn't gut it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on how many sheets I have of the particular paper, or how much I like the paper, or how useful I think it might be for my particular scrapbooking purposes. So some of you might think, oh, I just need to get rid of that paper, and kind of to each its own. So in this particular case, I am actually going to just do that. And sometimes also with paper pads, the paper can be a little bit, the quality of the paper is not as good, although with this particular paper pad, it's not too bad. I think it'll be fine once it's in my page protectors. So then I also have another piece of paper there from the Open Book collection. It's that wood ombre, and I had a chunk of that from another layout that I did recently, so I'm going to use that, and I just love that you can really see the ombre. I'm looking at using that floral paper, but I'm going to make another decision about that later on. And you see I've brought in that chipboard house. That is from the Maggie Holmes Open Book chipboard sheet. And I just liked it because we were at home on I think it was a weekend night, and everybody was all relaxed. And so it just made sense to use that house in this particular layout. The other thing I love about it is I love the aqua works so well with the aqua-y green of that background sheet there. And I'm still trying to use that floral paper, but I'm not committing to it. It's bothering me because it's standing out too much against pretty much it's white at the top of that. It's just standing out way too much and calling too much attention to itself versus the photo being the piece that I want to look at when I'm looking at this layout. So I am eventually going to let that green paper go. As much as I do love it, I'll use it another time. All right, and that's the cut apart that I was talking about. That's also from the Open Book paper pad. Now the interesting thing is I don't usually do this, but the pink in that is almost the same as, basically is the same as the pink in the wood paper there, but it's just dark enough over the lighter part of the ombre, plus I've inked the edges with my Jenny Bolin ink there, the Jenny Bolin fountain pen ink. All right, so now I'm still kind of playing with that paper, that floral paper, and trying to figure it out, and it's just not working. So I'm deciding maybe I just need to let it go. The one thing that's happening though is that it's very light on top, and I'm looking at this going, wow, that's a lot of white space up there. It's too much, trying to decide what I'm going to do to correct that, because it almost looks like I have two separate pieces of paper that are not well blended together. At least to my eye, that's how it looked. So you see all that kind of white space that I'm talking about. It makes the wood paper, it just looks really abrupt, is the best way I can describe that. That there's a lot going on in the bottom and nothing going on the top. But I will figure out how to make that change. Now I was looking at that Open Book sheet, and they had another very dark kind of aqua color element there, and it was that heart. So I decided I needed to use that on my layout somewhere just to bring in that aqua, because I think that was the only aqua left on there. And I thought the top would be a good place to do it, because now I'm bringing the aqua from the bottom of the layout with the paper in that chipboard house up to the top. So then I grabbed my envelope there of the Maggie Holmes Bloom ephemera. And I just found that at, I don't remember where I was. I was at a store that not as common and they had it. So I grabbed it up because if you were around when this came out, you could not get a hold of that ephemera because of all those darling flowers. So I'm just kind of playing around with what kind of flowers I want to use to back that heart at the top, and also can I use anything else. Ultimately, I'm just going to back it with some flowers. And I did think about using that piece there, that other piece of ephemera on the side. I kind of liked how it looked against the pink, but it looked like I was stacking in stair steps there, so that I didn't care for as much. But in that Bloom ephemera, I found this, what it looks like the kind of card you would keep thread on when you cross stitch. So I used to cross stitch a lot. I don't anymore. Part of it was as I started scrapbooking, and part of it honestly now is I just can't see to cross stitch like I used to. So I really like the way that white really brings the white down from the top into the bottom of the layout. That's another reason I really, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, perfect. So now I have the white coming down from the top into the bottom, into the embellishment cluster there, and I have that aqua colored, that dark aqua turquoise colored heart up in the top, bringing that color from the bottom up into the top. So again, just working on things to try to make this more cohesive. And I'm playing a little bit with what I could use from the pack. And I thought about the star, and that just didn't work so well for me. And just looking, I want something else, but I'm not quite sure what that something else is. So I had a couple of hearts. That one heart, the striped heart, was actually from an ephemera pack from either Crepe Paper or Maggie Holmes. I don't remember which because I ended up not using it. But then I had this triangle paper at one point that I think was Maggie Holmes, but I'm not positive. And I punched it out and I just put it in one of my embellishment packs. So anyway, that's either from Crepe Paper or Maggie Holmes, and it's an older collection. So I just grabbed that because I like that. And now I'm also working with maybe adding a little bling into this layout because I think that that's really going to punch things up. So I go to my pre-punched my pre-punched glitter hearts, and I have some scallop circles as well, which is where that scallop circle came from. That scallop punch is from Recollections. The large heart punch there that I'm grabbing, the punch itself is from Martha Stewart, and that glitter paper is from Recollections. It's you buy that at Michael's. So I really like now that punch of gold in here. I don't know what it is, but anytime I use Maggie Holmes, I always want to use the for some reason, I always want to use glitter with it, partially because I think she puts a lot of glitter in her collections. That Love You is also from the Maggie Holmes Bloom ephemera. So the flowers and the flower die cuts, the Love You, and that little So Lovely thread holder are all from Bloom. And now I've found that heart again, that triangle heart, and instead of using it at the top, I'm going to use it at the bottom here. And I really like that little punch of how it brings the black and white from the gingham into the cluster there. And then the little Love You again brings that black and white in. I had it on that chipboard house, but it just does a really nice job of bringing it in as a pattern. The heart does. So now what I'm doing is I'm just adding some foam tape here, and I need to do that to just, I wanted to make that Love You pop off the page there, just because then that won't be quite so flat. There's chipboard in two of the clusters, and then that Love You then will pop up just like the chipboard does in the other one. A little bit more interest for that cluster. And now I'm just putting the scallop down there, and I really like how that ended up looking. Now, as you're looking at this though, I love the cluster up in there, but there still is an awful lot of white space there. I know my title is going to go over the top, but I'm thinking, eek, that is still a boatload of white space, and how am I going to solve that? So you will see how I do that in the end. Because I will figure it out. And I'm thinking here, I just have this little border sticker, and I was thinking, because it's black, I was thinking about using it, but it was too late. I could have done it on probably the left side there if I had caught that a little bit earlier than when I thought maybe I would use it. Now I'm just gluing down the paper just a little bit more securely. And then also just the papers themselves, because I didn't have anything very glued down. And I do that because then I can tack elements in and under if I decide that's what I want to do. If you ever watch Shamel, she does that all the time, so I you know, borrowed that from her a long time ago. All right, so now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for an alpha, and I decide on this American Crafts Thickers Gen Alpha. And it's like the perfect size. It's a really good size for this because it's a fairly large alphabet. Really hard to catch it with the lighting here though. But it's just a gold glitter alpha. The part of the title that I'm working with right now is really almost under my light, so that's making it a little bit hard to catch it. But it's that beautiful bright gold that they do. So I'm going to just call this Snuggle Kitty, and I was spelling the title from the left to the right just because I wanted to snug up against that heart basically. I've got that almost all figured out there. All right, I have the alpha down, and now I'm just looking at it. I did that just to make sure everything was glued down, which it is. And the way I'm going to solve all that space is I'm going to actually put a couple of sequins on my layout here. And that just takes up some of that space. It brings all the gold from the rest of the layout up into that top, especially that top left corner, which basically had nothing in it. And now it has the sequins there. And as I'm looking at my layout now, one of my sequins, that top sequin, fell off. I did think about putting a few more sequins in, but it was looking a little contrived to me there. Although when I look at it, it's okay. I just don't like the fact that there's two of them because that I didn't have two anywhere else. And then now that I took the other one off, it looks like almost like I'm playing pinball with the four sequins up and top. So I'm going to take that one off there. Or I'm going to use proper English. And then I move that one sequin from the side of the paper there just onto the ombre paper because that helps kind of bring everything together. There was open space there, which I didn't mind at all. I think it's a good resting place for your eye, but it was looking a little open, so I decided to add something there. And now I'm just taking my micro glue dots and I'm going to put that on there. That's my probably favorite thing to put sequins on. And I just think it looks kind of nice. I like how the one sequin is kind of on the side, or there's actually two sequins on the sides of paper kind of going off the paper. And it just, again, it's just, your eye can see all of those and it just pulls the layout all together then. It doesn't see the layout so much as individual elements. So I'm just about done here. All right, I am just about finished. I'm going to do my journaling after, so look for that in the still shot and a couple of detail shots coming up. I'll be back with another layout soon. Hope you're all well. Bye.